Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
All right, everyone. We made it up to part 13 of 17 in this series on managing people versus leading people, looking at the difference in the mindset of managers of people compared to the mindset of leaders and people. Last time we talked about credit. Managers of people take the credit. They look in the mirror and take the credit when things go right. Leaders of people look through the window and give credit to others when things go right. So now we're talking about blame in this episode. So you may be able to imagine already what happens. So managers of people, relative to blame, managers of people, they look out the window too. But they're quick to look out the window and find someone to blame. Managers of people blame others when things go wrong. They don't necessarily want to know what happened. They want to know who did it. So they're transferring responsibility. Leaders of people, they look in the mirror just like managers of people. Except leaders of people are quick to look in the mirror and take the blame when things go wrong. Completely opposite mindset. They take responsibility when things go wrong. Managers of people transfer responsibility. But again, remember, this entire series is to help you understand the mindset of a manager versus the mindset of a leader. You don't have to have a position of authority to have either one of those mindsets. Everybody has them. You could be a frontline, entry-level worker, but do you have a management mindset or a leader's mindset? Well, you have to figure that out for yourself. Do you blame other people or do you take the blame? It's that simple. That's how you know. Unfortunately, leaders should take the blame. And I'm saying leaders meaning formal authority people. People, the boss. The boss should take the blame, but more often than not, they're the ones blaming. So Rhea and I spoke in at something called a Shingo conference. Shingo is kind of like the Nobel Peace Prize for process improvement relative to lean manufacturing. And we were in Orlando earlier this year speaking at the Shingo conference. And there was quite a large group of people there. And one of the people who come up and spoke to us afterward was a gentleman named Billy Taylor. He waited around to the very end, and then he said he really didn't have time to talk, but he ended up talking for an hour. But during his conversation, and Billy Taylor, the gentleman I'm speaking of, he's the director of Goodyear for North America and operations. So everything in North America for Goodyear, Billy is that top level leader over everything North America for Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. So while he was talking, though, he threw out a nugget. Remember, I told you I'm always looking for nuggets. And he was just talking, and he says, I always say, in the absence of ownership comes blame. I said, Billy, that's good. Stop right there. And I grabbed my phone, and I got my Evernote app open, and I was like, say that again. And he says, in the absence of ownership comes blame. I said, Billy, that's some good stuff. It's going right down here in my quote file, and you'll see it in one of my books. And I wasn't doing podcasts then, but I knew I'd be sharing it with people. So today I'm sharing that quote with you. But that's a powerful nugget because that's what happens. When people don't take ownership, they blame others. And I actually put that in my most recent book, Blue Collar Leadership and Teamwork, 30 Traits of High Impact Players. I use that quote in there. It's good stuff, right? And so I want to tell you a little bit more about the high impact leaders relative to taking the blame. High impact leaders that are quick to give the credit to others are usually the same ones that are quick to take the blame. If they get it right on one side of the fence, they usually get it right on the other side of the fence. And people love those high impact leaders who will take the blame and give the credit. People love those leaders. You already know this. The question is, which one are you at work and at home, regardless of your position or your title? So no matter what goes wrong, a high impact leader is quick to reflect and ask, what could I have done differently to prevent this? How was it my fault? What did I miss? What should I have done? What could I have done? How can I make sure it doesn't happen again? They take the blame, leaving everyone else in a position to move forward and get on with the task at hand. That's the key. A high impact leader understands blaming others slows everything down and creates distrust. And again, even a frontline entry-level person who knows this, they're going to take the blame. They should have a leader, a boss who's taking the blame for some reason. That's what high-impact leadership is about, saying no matter what happens, it's my fault if I'm the formal authority leader. But anybody can do it. And you may remember if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, and if you haven't, I got a great example of where I let my team down. If you go back to episode 40, I got a whole episode on where I let my team down, where I was leading a team, an improvement team, and I was responsible for ordering the paint, and I didn't order the paint. So when I went to get the paint, they usually have it in stock, and that day they had just sold it to someone else. And it was a lot of paint. It was a big team of about 12 people. And they're 10 or 12, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was about 12 people. And they were doing a huge painting project, and they were ready to paint that day. Usually I just drive over that morning, get the paint, drive back, unload the paint, and the team would start painting. We had done a lot of events like that in the past, but that day it was sold. But I took the blame. They went off and started doing other stuff. They couldn't paint because we didn't have any paint. So they went on to some other tasks that needed doing, and I had to end up driving all over the place and end up driving several hours round trip. And got the paint. By the afternoon, their day was over. Their shift was over. And I was the lean manager over process improvement, reporting directly to the plant manager across the entire facility. And there's about 200 people working in there. So, people saw me as one of the big bosses. I was on the plant manager's staff, and I was on salary. He never told me what to do relative to that kind of task. I just got it done and made it happen. But I let him down that day. And he didn't tell me to work over, to work late. He didn't tell me to do any of that stuff. But I took the blame, and I ended up working from the time I came in that morning. I didn't go home at 7 o'clock that morning. I came in, and I didn't go home until about 8:30 or 9 o'clock the next morning, because I stayed and painted that entire night by myself because I had let the team down. So when they came in the next day, they thought Santa Claus had came, because all these walls were painted. The paint booth that we were working on was painted. Everything was painted. And I did it all by myself, not because I really wanted to, but I had let the team down. And I had created distrust with them because of that. It would have been easy to blame the paint guy for not having it, even though I told him I was going to come get it. But someone else had sold it. I could have blamed them. It was my fault. I didn't plan far enough ahead. That's what I did. And I had never read any of these books that I now write, and the hundreds of them that I've been reading for the last 10 years. So that's what I'm talking about. Leaders are either making it happen, allowing it to happen, or preventing it from happening. In any of those cases, it could be good or bad, either way. The leader's allowing good things or bad things to happen. The leader's making good things or bad things happen. The leader is preventing good things from happening or preventing bad things from happening. That's what's happening at the level of high impact leadership. We're taking the blame for all of that, whatever that is. All right? Hope you got a nugget or two out of this lesson. And don't forget that one. really good nugget from Billy Taylor where he said, in the absence of ownership comes blame. You need to take the blame. You need to grow and develop a team that wants to take the blame. If everyone's trying to take the blame, that means no one is blaming. And let me say this. There's only one reason we blame others. It's because there's only one other choice, and that's to take the blame. So I hope you got a nugget or two today. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.